And then we come out of drama, and one of the girls passes me a note. Yeah, I know. We've entered that territory, boys. We have a note. And you know what it is? When you get a note in school, it's a love note. Would it be okay if we had a proper kiss? And like, I always say, I even say that now on a date, right? Because there were instances where I had crushes on girls in my college class, and you know, I never said anything just because I didn't want to ruin a friendship that we had, right? But there's one app which I have used from time to time that I just find funny, and that's Tinder, right? I want to talk about sex, because sex is important, right? And we are recording. Really need to turn it off before copyright kind of kicks in. That's kind of an important thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's Valentine's Day! Woo! Yes! It's the day where single people like me can sit there and look at all of the lovely couples who are singing, dancing, laughing, loving, all of that good stuff, while I'm sitting here with myself. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a great day, isn't it, Valentine's Day? Valentine's Day is the one day of the year where all of the arguing couples that come together, you know, couples that have been at each other's throats from minute one all the way to kind of every single moment of every single minute of every single day, arguing and kind of bitching at each other. And it's the one day where everybody comes together for a day of loving, sharing, you know, cuddling, all of that good stuff, you know. And then as soon as Valentine's Day ceases, we go back to arguing, hating each other. And for our singletons, single mingle people like me, this is the one day of the year where we can go up to people that potentially want to shag and be like, I want to shag you. And the boy or girl in the instant will go, oh you. Any other day, that's stalking. That will get you blocked. You can't do that, you can't say it. But on this day, you can flirt with whoever you want and get away with it. Absolutely beautiful day. So I thought, in honour of Valentine's Day, in honour of this kind of day of the old sensual love, lovey, I said that, didn't really mean that, steady son, in the kind of spirit of the day of it being all lovey, loved up, that's a better attempt at that, I thought, why don't I do a podcast about Valentine's Day, more importantly, revealing my love life. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, you want to hear about the Bagpuss's love train and these love shenanigans and all the events surrounding old lovely, then this is the podcast for you. I mean, on Valentine's Day, what better thing to do on Valentine's Day than watch a podcast featuring yours truly? If you are with a couple, you've just had your dinner, you know, had a really nice romantic dinner, instead of watching a film and, you know, doing all that, you know, lovely thing, kind of watching a show on Netflix and instantly, you know, maybe potentially chilling, why don't you watch this podcast? And if you're a single mingle like myself, then just sit back, relax and watch my podcast as well. I mean, it's happy days. I can't think of a better way to spend Valentine's Day evening than watching this podcast, the podcast that you are watching right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, get some food, get some drink, and experience me talk about my love life. Because if you think your love life is bad, if you think your love life is an unsuccessful attempt of a life, then just you wait till you hear mine, because I don't think anybody's love life can be as bad as mine, let me tell you that. Now I will say first and foremost that I won't be revealing any of the girls and the names of the girls that I've dated, nor give any like really personal events that occurred between myself and that girl for that instant. Just because firstly I don't have their permission to do that, and secondly I don't really want to do that, you know, so I've never ever wanted to do. But I will be giving you an insight into my love life and kind of revealing events from my side and just saying that girl, you know, referring to the name of the girl as just girl, you know, like at a crime scene, revealing the person as a girl, like, you know, just referring to her as the girl. And for people that do know me, that watch this podcast, they probably will know the girls I'm speaking about in this podcast. But for the people and my audience who don't know me in person, then it will just be a girl. It's simply, yeah, let me just say, it's just a girl, right? And I'm just going to share stories, with the life of Bagpuss in terms of my love life. Talking about my first relationship and girlfriends I had at school, my love life at college and college crushes. And then I'm going to talk about kind of using social media for a bit of the love train. I'm then going to be giving basically, I don't know why I'm doing this or how this is going to go, but I'm going to be talking about sex because it's quite an important thing in terms of relationship. I'm going to be talking about sex and the first time in a relationship. And then finally concluding this podcast with future relationships. So that is going to be kind of the name of the game. That is what we're going to be doing and what is going to be occurring throughout the next 90 or so minutes of this podcast. And I have kind of not spoken about my love life before in kind of a general context, but I have spoken about love in a video that I did last summer called Why Am I Single? The Why Am I Single quiz, where basically that day in that video was, the premise of that video was simply to look at the internet and see why the internet believes that I'm single, and we did kind of a big quiz on it, went down reasonably well, so check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description. It's kind of the only other kind of love video that I've made, but apart from that, I've never ever spoken about anything that is going to be happening in this podcast, and this podcast is the one and only time that I'm going to be reviewing my love life. So this is like your one chance. We're never ever re-mentioning or ever coming back to this podcast ever again. So this is a one night only situation, although it's going to be on my channel for forever and ever and ever, so that doesn't really work. But I want to start this podcast. We're going to get straight into business, no messing around today. I'm going to be giving my thoughts to Valentine's Day and the whole Valentine's Day experience, because obviously today, of the day that you're watching this, the day that this has been uploaded, February the 14th, 2018 is Valentine's Day. The reason why I'm doing this podcast is because of Valentine's Day, and like I said, Valentine's Day is a very, very strange day, right? Because as I said, it's the one day of the year where even if a couple has had, months and months and months of arguing and hostility, they come together and love each other for that single day. I mean, that's not all couples, I'm not generalising, I'm not a generalist. I'm just saying that I know in the past, couples who literally are at each other's throats all the way up to Valentine's Day, and they put all of their differences aside to come together. And then, just because, what I don't get right, Valentine's Day is a day where, as a couple, you surprise your partner with some flowers, some chocolates, a movie, a lovely meal. Should you really be doing those kind of things like on a general day-to-day business? Like, if I'm in a relationship, then I'm not just going to wait for Valentine's Day to cook a romantic meal for my partner. I would do it, maybe on a weekly basis. Valentine's Day is about surprising your partner, doing the unexpected. Well, in a relationship, surely you would kind of do the unexpected on a day-to-day basis. So I never really understand why there is a day that kind of, it is a day where people, right, it's Valentine's Day, I have to do something unexpected. Keep the mystery alive, keep the romance alive, do that 365 days a year, and then Valentine's Day simply will just be another day in the calendar. But obviously, us, and particularly us as British people, we're traditionalists. Obviously Christmas we hand out presents, Easter we hand out Easter eggs, and Valentine's Day is no exception. And really kind of Valentine's Day, you get three kinds of people who are falling into what they do on Valentine's Day. Well, actually maybe four types of people. You get the people that are couples that literally spend the last 3 or 4 months planning every single detail. Like, okay, boys, it's 2 weeks of Valentine's Day, I've got to get me flowers, I've got to get me chocolates, I've got to get me milk, I've got to get things under perspective, and I've got to get things in hand. It's got to be done, I've got to do it, I need to get on with it, or they leave it to like February the 12th, like, when's Valentine's Day? 14th. Damn it, right, I need to literally go to the shop right now and get a present. So you get those people. You get then the other kind of couples that kind of say, and this happens, right, I kid you not, I swear to God that this happens. They go, honey, and she goes, yeah, it's Valentine's Day coming up. She goes, oh really? So I'm not going to get you anything because, we said last year that you didn't want anything. She went, oh, that's okay, as long as I have you, that's all that matters, that makes the most amount of difference. As long as I've got you in my life and I can hold you in my arms, that's all that matters to me, that's all I care about. Alright baby, well, I'm just going to say, categorically now, I am not buying you anything. We'll just have a romantic evening together in front of the telly. I'm not going to be buying you a single gift, okay, you understand that? She's like, oh yes, I know, I love you. And then Valentine's Day pops up, and the girl normally, surprise ball, or it could be the other way around, and goes, so I've got you a present. And he goes, well, that's very nice and sweet of you, but I did say to you that I wasn't going to get you a present. Oh my God, you haven't got me a present, how could you do this to me? You don't love me, that's it. show you love ever again, see you later. And he's just like, no, just no. So you get those couples that say that they're not going to do anything of great nature, they're not going to buy any gifts, they're not going to do anything special, and then on the actual day they surprise the partner with a gift, the other person has got a gift, and their Valentine's Day is ruined. You get the single mingle people, and I put myself in this bracket, who are sitting there, maybe in bed, or as I will be tomorrow, recording or editing or whatever I'm doing, or even maybe just gaming, and sitting there and thinking, and looking down at my phone and going, oh, they're in a good time. Relationships are the greatest. Love, nice, yeah. And sitting there thinking, I really need a girlfriend. I really need a girlfriend. And then you get the other single mingle people who just, no, it's Valentine's Day today. And what? I now want to go to Tilted Towers and kill a lot of people on Fortnite. So you get 4 kind of brackets of people on Valentine's Day, each to their own, and do very, very kind of different things, really. And like Valentine's Day for me, and I'm being a complete hypocrite here, right? It sounds like I'm hating and, you know, being down on Valentine's Day. If I was in a relationship this year going into Valentine's Day, I kid you not, I would be getting the flowers, I'd be getting the chocolates, I'd be organising the meal, I'd be doing everything, because I have actually been in a relationship 2 years ago on Valentine's Day, which, well, kind of, that's a little bit of a lie. I'm kind of telling a little bit of porcupine there, because like I got with my ex-girlfriend 2 years ago, like 2 days after Valentine's Day, but we had been talking, texting and kind of speaking during Valentine's Day. And I think what I did on Valentine's Day is on Skype they had like send your crush or your partner a lovely romantic message for them to wake up on Valentine's morning and see that message, and I think I did that. Like, I was really soppy. In front of the camera I could be extremely soppy. But that day I spent Valentine's Day 2016 with the love of my life as Arsenal got a 90th minute winning goal against Leicester. I mean, you know, you can have all the love in the world. You know, there is no bigger and better love than seeing your favourite team, the love of my life, scoring a 90th minute winner against Leicester, even though we didn't win anything and that game kind of was relevant looking at the end of the season. But that's how I spent my Valentine's Day. And last year, I think I don't even remember what I was doing last year. I really I think I was in the kind of that 4th bracket of Valentine's Day, kind of that person, that persona where you're just on Valentine's Day, you really just can't be arsed, and you know, you acknowledge Valentine's Day, but you don't really care about Valentine's Day. It's kind of a two different things, 2 different areas really. So, you know, if I am in a relationship on Valentine's Day becomes the most important part of like the year. If I was in a relationship, I would not be recording tomorrow night. That is 100%. I'm recording this today before Valentine's Day. Let me just put that into context. I would not, though, be recording whatsoever. It just would not be happening, just simply for the fact that I would be spending it with my partner. So, yeah, I think also Valentine's Day people kind of see in many different ways. Some people and some couples take it very seriously. Others kind of don't really see too much into it, and other couples just, you know, are just thankful for the occasion. Some single people use Valentine's Day as an opportunity to maybe talk to somebody new and maybe get into a potential relationship, when others simply just refer to it as a different day. So everybody is entitled to do whatever they want to do on Valentine's Day in reason. But trust me, I've seen, there's experiences where I've been like sending cheesy pick-up lines Valentine's Day as a joke, or just, you know, being in a potential relationship, said let's meet up and go on a date on Valentine's Day. I've done all of that, you know, I've been there and done it. Whatever you can think about what you could do on Valentine's Day, I probably have done on Valentine's Day. So, you know, trust me, I know the soppy guy, the guy that doesn't really care about Valentine's Day, the guy that tries his luck on Valentine's Day. Just, I think I fall into every single bracket throughout my life on that particular day. And this year I'm making a video for the single and taken people on Valentine's Day for their amusement, incidentally. So, you know, I don't know what next year's going to be like. You know, what will happen next year? How will I be spending Valentine's Day in 12 months' time? If someone had said to me this time last year on Valentine's Day that like this time next year you'd be sitting in front of a camera talking to a YouTube audience about your love life, I just would have simply just laughed and proceeded just to go back to my gaming ways. So, you know, I don't know. I don't really know. But yeah, Valentine's Day certainly is a very, very interesting day, shall we say. And for all of you guys out there and girls, the one thing I'd say, and I'll be talking about this later on in the podcast, if you are bored, like today, and you've got a bit of free time, go on Tinder, and if you have not set up an account, set up an account on Tinder, and just experience what it's like, because Tinder on Valentine's Day is the funniest place to see, and I've got more funny Tinder stories lined up later on during this podcast. So those are basically my thoughts to Valentine's Day and my Valentine's Day experiences. Now it's time to reveal my love life. Talking about my first relationship and girlfriends that I had at school. Now, I've touched upon school before. In the first series of the DJ Bagpuss show, we did the origins of DJ Bagpuss and my bullying story. And as I said, school was a mixed bag for me. I kind of had year 7, a very, very good year. Year 8 was the worst year of my life. And then kind of year 9, 10, and 11 gradually got better and better and better. And you'd think, right, and this comes back to self-confidence. Back in the day, I didn't really think about girls whatsoever. You know, I never ever in a million years really cared about girls. You know, you go to primary school, get girls. I mean, I had a couple of crushes in like primary school, and I think I've spoken about this before. There was this one girl that I crushed throughout my whole primary school era, and I was way out of her league, and I got so close to potentially like making my move, and every time, you know, I think I was getting closer to her and getting to that point where like, okay, I'm going to make my move. Yes, this is time for DJ Bagpuss, it's time to shine. She just knocked me back. So, and I don't really count like primary school, you know, I think I did have a couple of girlfriends in primary school. Can't really count that, never really went out with them. I think I held one girl's hand for like 5 minutes in primary school. That's it. Does that really count? I mean, yeah, I'd say it kind of counts. But secondary school is the place where you start developing feelings and you potentially have your first proper relationship. Now, not going to lie, back in the day, back in year 7, I was a pretty nerdy kid, not going to lie. I mean, you know, I wouldn't count myself as a nerd now. I wouldn't count myself as a jock. I'd say I'm your in-betweener. I'm, you know, average, shall we say. I'm just the run-of-the-mill guy. But back in year 7, things were very different. My hair, all over the place. You've seen photos of me, did not know what hairspray was or hair gel. In fact, I actually haven't put any product in my hair today just because of the fact that it's kind of gone through a stage recently when I had my hair cut that it just does what I want it to do without product. I mean, I could put a bit more product in it to make it kind of have a bit more volume, but, you know, anyway, it will do. It looks fairly decent. But back in the day, I brushed my hair, but it was literally just part down. I used to have like this part in. My teeth, before I had braces, were all out, and my glasses were wonky. I was not a pretty sight to behold, and I can say that because looking at photos back at me in year 7, yeah, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. I didn't look particularly great. Back in the day, I thought I was the bee's knees, and I thought that every single girl, like, they were lucky to have a shot with, you know, the old Bagpuss love train, and to get on, and the next stop being on the Bagpuss love train. They were lucky if they actually got on the train. But looking back, there was a reason why I didn't get many girls speaking to me, because, like, look at me. Just look at me. And I'm not going to show these photos, but take my word for it, I did not look great. I think I have got slightly better as I've got older. But yeah, I just looked absolutely horrendous and just, you know, did not look great. And obviously, if you don't look particularly dashing, and if you've not got the muscles, or nor particularly, you know, sterling looks in year 7, you ain't going to get much action. And I don't mean action as in teenage action, I mean actually having a girl talk to you. But everything changed. A day that back in the day I didn't think had any significance, but boy, if I had known, if I could look into the future and look at a vortex and see what was going to happen from that day, oh my god, you could not write it. Because I actually had a girl who was interested in me. I know. Can you believe it? I've done it. He's done it. He's absolutely done it. He's smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. But I had no idea this was happening. I already know this because of being with that set girl. And when we talked about or like, you know, you have that classic conversation when you know, with your partner, you go, so when was the first time you had feelings for me? She goes, well, it was about, you know, etc, etc, etc. You know, I now know this story, but basically, we had a year 7 disco. This was like, I'd say about 4 or 5 months into year 7. So obviously, I've transitioned from year 6 to year 7. Everything's going well, getting used to school, got some new friends, you know, enjoying my life, having good lessons, you know, and my life basically back in the day was just Call of Duty. And I know it sounds so sad. It was just Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. We went to this disco, and I was like, okay, disco time, it's time I can show a bit of my moves, and just, you know, it was a day where I go and chill out with some of my mates, show a bit of my dance moves. I'm a bit of a dancer. I love a bit of a boogie. Let's go. Let's go and let's do this. You know, and I got kind of the smart shirt. I had, I didn't even wear jeans back in the day. I was that hip and that cool that I just wore the same black trousers that I wear for school. Back in the day, like, the sensible idea would be just to wear kind of a casual t-shirt, some jeans, bit of product in your hair, beautiful. No, I wear a very smart shirt, black school trousers, not black jeans, black school trousers, no product in my hair, you know, wonky glasses, teeth that look like buck tooth has gone wrong, and we just see how it goes. Go into the dance hall, and I actually remember this day. There was kind of one of my mates was basically on the verge of getting with this girl, and like he was like one of the most popular boys in year 7, and she was one of the most popular girls in year 7, and strange, one of the most popular boys in school actually was friends with me. Who knew? I know, you guessed it, I thought not. So basically what happened is that there was like animosity in the air. It was building up, you know, and it got to the point where this guy, who was the most popular guy, and this girl was the most popular girl, came together, they danced with each other, and then the unthinkable happened. We could not believe our eyes. This girl and this boy kiss on the lips for 3 seconds. I know, not 1 second, not 2 seconds, 3 bloody seconds. I know, we were like, oh my god, we were like, get the phone, oh my god, go on Joe. So his name was Joe, by the way, so shout out to Joe. It's like, go on Joe, lad, you've got it. And like everybody was like, what, and the hype, and it was all going on. I know, I mean, it sounds so pathetic and so sad now, but this was in year 7. This was back in the day in year 7. Nobody knew that about relationships. You know, relationships were like, if you got into a relationship in year 7, you were like the king of the fucking table, right? You were just like the top boy if you got into like a relationship. Like, I kid you not, right? So like they had the kiss and it's all going lovely, and you know, we're actually like buzzing, and like in the back of my mind, my thought process at this point thinking, I bloody wish a girl kissed me, you know. And like I wouldn't say I've had my first proper kiss, but I pecked, you know, I had a couple of pecks in primary school, like playing kiss chase and all that. But I hadn't had like my proper first kiss, you know, that kiss that actually means something, not like just your average kiss chase, you know, in school, or just like a 2-second peck. You know, this was like a proper 3-second lock lips for, you know, and a decent first kiss, you have to say. But somewhere, somehow, something in the distance was watching me, watching my dance moves, watching my personality, watching my movements. There was a girl that was watching me and actually was attracted to me. Like, I know, mind blown. What the hell is going on? I did not know that. I was just an innocent boy watching 2 people fall in love and wanting a little slice of that action, but just enjoying my dance moves to the cha-cha slide and Bob the Builder. But in the wings, somewhere, there was a girl who found me attractive. Now, I never met this girl, I never knew this girl, and it kind of died down. You know, we had the disco in January, February came along, you know, and it was all going, you know, relatively to plan. Valentine's Day occurred, and, you know, again, just living my life, not really taking any notice. But then, there is talk. The talk of the town happens, right? And this is kind of late February going into my... I'm so sad that I remember all of this like it was yesterday. Like, that is what my life has come to. Being a YouTuber, you spend hours and hours editing, you have a lot of time to think in between, like, doing edits and recording and stuff. But I actually remember this, right? So, it's drama. It's like, because we used to have like 5 periods, and it was drama. And like, in secondary school, particularly in the early years, it kind of dies away as you get older, right? But you get to a point where, like, you hear natters, right? If something's happened that you're involved with, you sort of get that kind of feeling, and that, like, nervous feeling in your belly, right? That, like, someone's talking about me, like, something's going on. I don't really know what it is and why people are mentioning my name, but, like, someone's talking about me, and I don't really know what it is, why they're talking about me, or, like, what is going on. And it was mainly, like, groups of girls. It wasn't the guys. Me and the boys were just, you know, acting out our performance. I think I was pretending to be like a tree or something, you know, and, you know, but I could sense something was going on, and the girls were like looking at me, laughing, chattering, you know, that thing that girls do where they like whisper to their friends, and they're clearly doing it because they know that they've got and grabbed your attention, so they deliberately look like they're talking about you. And on this instance, like, girls were just like looking at me, giving me really weird and funny looks, and I was thinking, no, we've got everything on, everything's in the right place, okay? I look fine. I don't really know what's going on, right? So I had that. I thought, is there something on my face? Have I got something up the cave? Is there a bat? Is there a bat lurking there? My hair was pretty, much of a state anyways, but I was confused. I didn't know what was going on, right? And then we come out of drama, and one of the girls passes me a note. Yeah, I know. We've entered that territory, boys. We have a note. And you know what it is? When you get a note in school, it's a love note. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a love note, okay? And it was addressed to me, to Stephen, with a heart at the top. And like, all my mates were rushing around going, who's it from, what is this? I said, like, give me a minute, boy. I opened up the letter. I don't remember, I think it said something like, to Stephen, I like you, here's my number, text me and come find me, N. Like the initial. I'm not going to give the name of the girl, but the initial was N, right? And like, I was, okay, I'm intrigued. Someone actually likes me. Out there is a girl that actually likes me. That wants a bit of the Bagpuss. Not in that way, just, wants to be connected to the DJ of yours truly, right? So I went to one of the girls, who is this from? And they told me, never met this girl before. And they said, lunchtime, come and meet them, right? So I go down to meet her, and we start talking, right? I get the note, and it's all kind of, it's a little bit like, I've never ever struggled talking to girls. Like, I don't find awkwardness, I don't find it awkward. But when you've got a whole group of people watching your every move, it's slightly, it can make me a little bit, anxious with that. And we were just casually talking. And this girl asked me out that lunchtime. And obviously, this is the first girl that's ever spoken to me. I go, yeah, why not? Why not? So, I have a girlfriend, okay? The weirdest way of getting into a relationship, like, we didn't go for any of the dates. We just slap bang. I liked her after meeting her for about 30 seconds. She liked me, she watched me, she was the one that watched me at the disco and was like thinking to herself, okay, I'm attracted to this guy, and we got together, okay? Now obviously in school, I saw her break time at lunchtime, hanging around with her, held her hand, got a hug from her, and then there was one instance where we were all round at lunchtime, I said bye, and like all of her friends were around saying, going for the kiss, and they were like chanting and bleeding, like, do it. So I gave her a peck, like 2-second peck, and all the girls were going like, ooh, and I was just like, and the boys were going, yes, Stevie lad, and I was just like, nice. So I had a peck, didn't really mean much. I had a hug, I was holding hands, and we were just hanging out, and then, because we were like texting I think we were on Skype, because I didn't have Facebook back in the day, because like my mum just like didn't want me to have Facebook at that age. I got Facebook like when I was older, but back then she wasn't really too keen on the whole social media idea. The fact that this mother has let me become a YouTuber, or not let me become a YouTuber, but is happy with me doing YouTube. Like back in the day, she did not want me to even have Facebook, right? So we were just talking on like Skype and texting, and I said, why don't we go on a date? So this is where I have my very first date, and I was nervous, okay? I've not been nervous for many things in my life, right? But my first date, I was absolutely shitting myself, like generally. Like, we decided to go to the cinema, standard, right? I'm thinking to myself, okay, we've got a number of options here. Bowling. At the time, never played bowling in my life. Done bowling now, but back in the day, no, never played bowling. So that was out of the equation. Ice skating, can't ice skate. I'd break every bone in my body doing ice skating, so that's a big no-no. Park, it was like March, April time. I was absolutely like frozen. No way am I like going to a park in the freezing cold, right? So kind of left cinema, meal, right? So go to the cinema, right? So what film do you want to go see? We went to see Rio, okay? There was not really anything good up there at the cinema, and like Rio is such a bad film. I'm sorry, I'm hating on Rio and I'm just doing that, but yeah, Rio was absolutely, it was atrocious. What was the point? Missing the point. The point wasn't like to go to watch a movie, the point was just to have your first proper date, right? Need some water because mouth, as you can tell, and throat is a little bit dry. Pardon me. But yeah, so we decided to go to cinema, and then like after meal, okay, and this was in like a complex that I lived near, which has got like, it's got the cinema, so it's got Cineworld, and then it's got like restaurants. So you've got like McDonald's, Frankie and Benny's, you've got an Italian, or you've got 2 Italian restaurants, you've got a Chinese restaurant, and it was back in the day where there was a nightclub kind of the opposite side. It's now been turned into like a, I think no, it's been turned into a bowling alley. It used to be a bingo suite, and then it now is a bowling alley. But, you know, I thought, where do we go? And let's be fair, that like my mum is paying for all of this, right? I haven't got any money myself. So I decided to take her to McDonald's because I'm such a romantic, such a gentleman. I didn't have the money to like go Frankie Ben's. Like, if I was going to do that date like now, like 8 years later, this was in 2011 actually, so this was 7 years ago. If I had to do that date again 7 years later, I'd pick a better film and I'd like take it to somewhere like Frankie Benny's. You know, a place where it actually was a bit of class. But McDonald's back in the day. Result, she likes chicken nuggets, I like cheeseburgers. Job well executed and job well done, right? And I wore like my smartest shirt, smartest trousers. Again, failed to use any products and just couldn't be asked for products. And I remember like all week just being so, word I'm looking for, just so nervous. Like I had like gut-wrenching stomach nerves at the pit of my stomach, just for the fact that this is my first date. This is a big thing in someone's life, and you know, yes, I was only like, I think 12 or 13, but still, like, this is quite a big thing. And out of all of the dates that I've ever been on, this was the most nerve-wracking date of my entire life, right? So I meet up with her. My mum is our chauffeur, as you say. We pick her up. We then go to the cinema. My mum drops off, so see you later, have a good time. We're holding hands, we get the ticket, we're going to the cinema, and we've got about 15 minutes before the movie starts, right? And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you know where this is going, okay? Because obviously, I mean, again, I was still fairly confident, but on the other hand, you know, as I said before, absolutely shitting myself. But in the cinema complex, like, because it was like an early morning cinema showing, there was just like me and this girl in the cinema, okay? It was just us two, right? And I was sitting there and we were just talking, and we went on our phones. Or I had a really like shitty Nokia phone, and I think she had like a BlackBerry or something. So I was literally just playing Snake. She was just like, I don't know, texting or whatever. This was even before the days of like Snapchat and Instagram. Like, I'm telling you, this is how old, like 7 years ago, like Snapchat just wasn't a thing. It kind of blew up towards like year 9, year 10. So back in like year 7, Snapchat just, I don't remember anyone talking about Snapchat. But yeah, like I'm sitting there thinking, this is the moment. We're alone. There's no school kids around. You know, there's no one here to watch us. This is the moment where not only, I mean, as I said, I pecked a couple of girls here and there, but this is where I can have my first proper kiss. And I mean like a proper like a snog, like a smooch. And I don't like who used the word snog. I go just a proper, you know, the best way to describe it, like, you know, a kiss with, you know, using, you know, the mouth and the tongue, and properly just having a proper old munch at somebody's face, incidentally. And yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It was a proper snog. So I was like, and this is how gentlemen are. I turned to the girl and I was like, would it be okay if we had a proper kiss? And like, I always say, I even say that now on a date, right? Because like, I don't just want to be like, it'd be really awkward if you like lean in and like the girl leans back. Like, I would find that like so weird, and just, I would not want that. And just for a simple fact and the reason of the fact that, you know, that would just be so socially awkward that it would just be, I think I've had one date, right, where it's ended where I said, do you want a hug? And the girl has been like, no, I'm not attracted. Like, that's fair enough. I mean, that is still quite, you know, not embarrassing, but quite disappointing. But it's the fact that if you like lean in and they pull back, I've never ever had that before. So I always ask, I always want to have permission. It's just like I've got that gentleman fibre in me that I feel much more at ease if I actually have permission to actually do that. Which I think, boys, that's the best way to go. Always ask if you want to like kiss or, you know, hug a girl instantly. Unless the moment's just right and like she leans in and like and you want to reciprocate that, then you both lean in. But to my eyes, I've always instigated like smooches. So, you know, I'm always one that leans in. most of the time anyway, like when I'm actually in a relationship, like, and when I've had like girls round like here to the DJ Bagpuss gaff, then it's kind of been mutual, like I lean in, she leans in. But back in the day, I just was asking, once I had the permission, I remember, like, because like the cinema, like when you got 2 cinema seats, it's really awkward to like, turn round. So I remember coming off my seat and like kneeling down to hers and then leaning in for this smooch. And I have to say, it was one of the best kisses I've ever had in my life, even to this day. And I've had multiple kisses since that day. But it's just something about like your very first proper kiss that you don't forget. I don't forget that. I am now playing that in my head right now. I will just never forget that to the day that I die. And she was a good kisser, may I say. And it was enjoyable. So it was a big moment, right, where you had that first kiss and that big moment. And then we had a couple of smooches here or there, watching the film. Went to have the meal, all lovely jubbly. We're on the way back, and I've said this actually before in my 19 facts video. We're kind of building to the point where on the way home, great first date, and either kind of the, how would you say, either the adrenaline had kind of fallen away, like I got so hyped and so nervous for this day, and as something comes to a conclusion, the adrenaline sort of dies down, or maybe I just had something dodgy. But I dropped the girl off at her home, and she had kind of the opposite of her road, like bushes, and I just got to the point where I was just, I don't know what it was, I felt a bit ill, I went my colour, and I come over a little bit green and went into the bush and proceeded to puke up after my first date. So yeah, and I've spoken that before in the 19 facts video. Yeah, what a great way to end the day, being violently and physically sick. But I was still on cloud nine. I just had my proper first snog. Like I was, happy. It was a good day. It was mission accomplished. And not mission. So that was the only reason why I wanted it. Like I generally loved this girl. Like honestly, she was my first love. And like people say, your first love is one that you never ever forget. And definitely, like I love the bones of this girl. But it was a good day. It was a very, very good day. And we dated for about 3-4 months, and then, well, this is where things start to get a little embarrassing, because basically what happened is this girl said that she was moving away, and like I decided in my romantic words of wisdom to throw her a leaving party because she was moving away like up to London or something, right? So I spoke to my form teacher and like said that I wanna do a leavers party with inviting all her friends, and like not tell her whatsoever about what is going on. Like she was absolutely oblivious to the fact. So I got her best friend and me, we arranged this party. I wrote, basically it was like we were getting married. I wrote this like long huge speech about why I loved her so much, what she's given to me, how happy she's made me, how much I'm gonna miss her, all of that soppy stuff, right? And then we had the leavers party, we kept it under wraps, we got her into the party, we had a great party, it was over at lunchtime, and this was just for the 6 weeks holiday, and like it was like a mutual end, because obviously like she was going to go up to London, I'm staying like where I'm living right now, and like I'm not a big fan of long distance relationships. I just don't think that they do well whatsoever. I think local relationships work a lot better, and I think if I ever got into a position where I was in a long distance relationship, I would have to seriously consider like ending and concluding that relationship. No matter how much I love that person, just long distance relationships are just a huge no-no for me. So, it's quite emotional. I actually was really upset about it. I didn't cry, not a crier, did not cry, but I was upset, the first girl that I had like properly loved, and like we used to have conversations about like when we were 16 getting married and living together, like we were just like obsessive about each other. Like it was truly just like proper true love, right? And then the 6 weeks happened and she's gone. I decided to move on, new chapter in my life, come back for the first day of year 8, and one of my mates come up to me and say, the girl's still here. And I went, wait, sorry, what? She's here. I went, yeah, she's up there, up the stairs, because we were like, our form room had like, where the playground was, you had to come down these stairs. It was kind of in a little hut area, and that's where I actually met her, in this hut area. Quite a good and cool fun fact for you fact fans over there. But basically what happened is that like I was just like, you're lying. basically lying, like, why are you lying to me? Why are you doing this to me? I forgot about her, I've moved on. And they went, go up there and see for yourself. I go up the stairs, and there she is, standing there. I go, you alright? And she's like, you alright? I went, yeah. And she goes, yeah. And it was really, really awkward. Now you think, right, you know, I've said how much we loved each other and how, like, obsessed we were about each other. You'd think that, like, a reunion would be like, it'd be like something out of, I don't know, like Love Actually. Like, you've lost your great partner, you think it's all over, you see them, and then you, like, run into each other's arms and you rekindle that love. In this occasion, that didn't happen. And I don't really know what it was. I mean, I generally think she was moving away, but I think that it just broke down, and then she just kind of went off me a little bit. But, like, that relationship throughout the whole 5 years was on and off. Like, we used to be friends, and then we would banter around and basically act like we're in a relationship, and then a couple of times we'd have another kiss in school, even though we were friends, and then she got with other guys, and, like, it was like an on and off relationship that we had all the way up to the end of year 11. And even, like, when I was at college, there was a brief moment where we started chatting again, and there was talk in the air that potentially we'd get back together. But that was good in the past, and I respect her, and I always respect her. You know, she was my first love, and I always care about her. But it's better to leave that in the past. Like, what the past is in the past, and, you know, I feel like when you've had that, and when you've been with someone that has been on and off, like, we used to have loads of, like, really kind of stupid arguments, falling outs, and getting back. It's just better to, there's some areas in your life, and you'll go through this in life, where you don't revisit them, and that is one of them. I don't need to revisit that. You know, we have a great history, we have mutual respect for each other, and we share a lot of great memories. That's as far as it needs to be. And if I haven't spoken to her in about a year, 2 years, so, you know, that was kind of my first relationship. And then kind of other relationships at school, there was a couple. There was a girl that I got with for 3 days. You know, I'd been speaking to her for ages. We then got together because we used to go off-site bowling. You know, I decided that I wanted to be with her and asked her out. She said yes, and then we were talking on Facebook. This is when I actually had Facebook. And then, like, 2 or 3 days later, that kind of just fell away. And I was just like, okay. I've had relationships at school which literally have just lasted, like, 4 or 5 days, and then a week. I mean, the longest relationship was my first relationship. That was like 3 or 4, well, no, not 3 or 4 months. Like, 1 year, 3 months is what I was meant to say. My first relationship was over 1 year and 3 months the first time, and then we were on and off in, like, year 8, 9, 10, and 11. So, not 3 months, 1 year and 3 months is my longest relationship, like, from, like, year 7 to year 8, right? Or, no, it was, hang on, that, I'm trying to work out. We were together at one point for about a year and 3 months. I can't actually remember when that was, because we got together in, like, the February, March of year 7. We split up, or we split up in August, so that was April, May, June, July, all 5 months. And then I think there was a period from year, you know, it was year 8 to year 9, like, after we'd gone off each other, and then we came back in year 8, and then from, like, beginning of year, or, like, the middle of year 8 to, like, the end of year 9, we then, like, were together. And then kind of, like, as soon as year 9 started, we just had this on and off thing. So, yeah, you know, and in year 10 and 11, I had a couple of relationships here or there. And, you know, like I said, at school there was a couple of girls that I crushed on and never told them. Just simply for the fact that either A, they were out of my league, or B, just the fact that you don't want to ruin friendships. And this is where, like, college comes into it. Because college was where that point that I've made about, you know, girls and having crushes really comes into its own, because there were instances where I had crushes on girls in my college class, and, you know, I never said anything just because I didn't want to ruin a friendship that we had, right? But yeah, there were moments where, you know, like, in college it's completely different, because you have, in college, you've kind of gone through the whole kind of playground, you know, relationships. Now, with me, I had been in a relationship for a long period of time, and been with a girl that I really did love, so I knew how that felt. But in college, it's because you're at, like, the age of 16, 17, you know, and even, like, I turned 18 when I was at college. You're getting to a stage now where relationships become a lot more serious. Like, I had my first serious relationship at the age of 12. By 16, 17, they became even more serious, right? And at college, I never got with anybody at my college. I had a relationship, which I will come to kind of in a minute. But at college, I had a crush on a girl at college, again, who will remain nameless. And there were reasons that I chose not to share those feelings with that friend. Because college is different, because like at school, like with the girl that I was with at school, like we were in one class together, like throughout kind of a whole week, and then at break time and lunchtime, I'd only see her if I made the effort to actually see her. Like when we were together, I made the effort of trying to see her, okay? But it's different at college, because college you're at one classroom over like 3 days, and normally in a long period of time, okay? And the girl that I had a crush on in college sat literally right next to me. Like where at music technology I'd had my Mac station, and this girl kind of sat right next to me, okay? And we were very, very close friends, and like we started being good friends, and then we became even close. Like we used to talk about so much stuff together. We used to tell each other our personal problems, secret stuff what was bothering us. We'd give each other relationship advice, and we would go out together. It was set in stone and had all the ingredients of what you would expect a relationship to blossom, right? And it was not necessarily like, actually, like towards the end of the first year, I started developing these feelings. Like after my relationship ended, and basically during my first year of college, between the February and April time of my first year, I got together with a girl who was at another school. So she'd like be coming around mine every single weekend, and I'd meet her up during the week. And that was great, and that was like 3 months. I'll talk about that more in a couple of minutes when I talk about social media. But then after that, once I split up with her, and a couple of weeks later, I started developing feelings for this friend at college. And then during our second year of the course, I really started to have feelings, and it was kind of a catch-22 where I was constantly thinking to myself, do I tell her, do I not tell her? And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, like, on one hand, I wanted to, okay, but like you always get this feeling where when you're talking to someone that you fancy, you kind of get a gauge and a gut feeling that and something that you think that they have those feelings back. Like with the girl and my first girlfriend at school, it was instant. I could easily tell, like not only with the note, it's kind of, that was just as much evidence as you need really. A note kind of tells it as it is. If someone fancies you and they give you a note kind of proclaiming their love, then that kind of says it as it is. But like the body language, the mood language, and how this girl wants to be quite a lot. Like that kind of proves it. And even though I was good friends with this girl at college, it was. It just, I had the feelings and I had attraction towards her, but I don't think she felt the same. Do you know what I mean? And on one hand, I didn't really want to confirm that, if I'm being perfectly honest. I didn't want to go through that, like literally just breaking up with my, last ex-girlfriend in that time. I really didn't want to go through any more heartbreak, and I just didn't want to know the answer. So if you don't want to know an answer, don't ask the question. So I thought, if I don't ask the question, I'm not going to get upset. But on the other hand, there were moments where I was like, is she flirting with me? Is she not flirting with me? And like I used to have like a really close mate of mine say that like she's flirting with me and she really wants to get with me, and just I kept contemplating it. But the main reason why, and as I said, I'm not, I always have the mindset that if I am attracted to someone, if I fancy someone, then I will tell them. I'll tell them straight, because then you can either, if you tell someone and they're attracted to you as well, happy days, you've got yourself a relationship. And if they're not attracted to you, you can remain friends or learn to, just mutually accept that nothing's going to happen. Because I've been in instances where I've been friends with girls who, like, they do have feelings for me, but they don't want to go on a date, and, you get in a position where you're just being thrown around basically like a rag doll, and you get to a point where you just have to mutually say for the best, it's better that we not speak. I've had that before. But the problem is, because like at college, I'd see this girl every single day and I'd sit next to her, the awkwardness would be just unbearable, not just between me and her, but between the whole college class, because it would get out. You know, it always does. Anything you ever try and do in terms of relationships, like secretly, trying to keep a relationship secret, it always comes out in one way or another. That is another kind of true lesson that I've learned, okay? But, you know, I didn't want that. I didn't want to have to come into college every single morning and considering, you know, I started YouTube at college, I was spending pretty much every waking minute at that college. It would just make college a horrible place to be, and I absolutely loved every single second that I was at college on music technology. So, for the best, I decided to not share my feelings. I mean, if this girl watches this video, then she's gonna know. But the nice thing about this story is not only are we good friends now, but she had a crush on a guy who she was too afraid to say for the exact reason. She didn't want to feel embarrassed. She didn't want to have that social awkwardness. And like, I understood that, even though I kept saying to her, just make your move, try and say something. And like, once we left college, I said, now this is your moment, and now it's your chance to make a move. Once we've left college, it didn't matter. And that for me would have been the perfect opportunity to say what I had to say. But the fact that I knew that she fancied this guy so much kind of just was evidence in itself that I would just not really have a chance. So I made the decision in that, like, one day in the summer holiday to message him and basically tell him exactly how she felt and see if he felt the same. And out of all of that, now they are together. They are boyfriend and girlfriend and have been for like the last kind of 6 months, and that is thanks to me. You know, without me telling him how she felt, they would be together. So I'm happy about that. I'm glad she's happy, but who knew? Who knew how things might have been very, very different if I shared my feelings. But I don't regret it, you know. It's not a decision that I regret. I just felt that it would be best, and like, I always follow my gut. If my gut tells me to do something, I normally do it. My gut was telling me for the best, don't say anything, okay? But let me say, I had another, I mean, I'd say I've dated various girls, right? And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm an absolute successful lady, far from it. You know, I had one relationship that was 1 year, 3 months, and then we were on and off. I then had my relationship like lasted a week or 2 weeks. But my second, like, proper relationship, and this was really, really proper, was a girl that I met through Facebook and was with her for 3 months from, like, the February of 2016. This was the girl that I said that I was with on Valentine's Day of 2016 to April of 2016. We were together, and she went to a school that was fairly local. And, like, in my first year of college, I always used to have Mondays and Tuesdays off. I used to go to college Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we made an arrangement once we were together that I would see her like Monday after she left school. So I'd meet her after school, we would hang out. Tuesday after school, sometimes she came round after school to mine. And then every weekend she'd come round mine or I'd go round hers. So, you know, we got into that kind of routine really, and it was great. You know, I met her through Facebook, and this is what I'm telling about how, like, social media and using social media as a mean of, like, finding love, okay? You know, and, you know, if you go, and this is what I say, if you go out of your way to try and find a relationship on, like, Facebook, like, you know, if you do that thing where you see, like, a mutual friend that you think, oh, she's quite good, maybe I'll start talking to her, and you start that, I guarantee you, it will never, it's so rare that it just won't work whatsoever. And, like, honestly, like, I know that, trust me on that, I know that feeling, okay? But normally, if you are going to get into a relationship that happens on social media, the girl normally, and in my instance, both times that I've got with someone through social media, they've messaged me first. And this was like, it was like the Friday before Valentine's Day, I'm sitting on my phone, you know, and like just, you know, before doing YouTube, I was just sitting, chilling, watching some telly, you know, just loving life and just thinking, you know, oh, life's great at the minute. You know, I'm enjoying college, I've got a good group of friends, you know, everything is going rosy, and I see a friend request happen, and it was from a girl. Now, normally, I don't have girls add me on Facebook. The only time I do is like when you get those fake sexual accounts that have clearly been designed by someone fake to post spam. You know, I don't know if you know, if you're on Facebook, you get these like profiles that are like a girl that adds you, and like a picture of like a kind of really attractive girl. And then she's got one post that says, come join me for a bit of sex, like a sex chat room. And it's just to promote spam. I've never clicked on any of the links. But if you click on the link, you probably get like a virus or so. And they're just fake accounts. So if I ever get any of those, I'll just remove the request. Simple as. And loads of people, like all of my mates get them from time to time. We're just sitting there like, the first time I did it, I opened my phone and I was just like, oh my Jesus Christ. Oh, it's fake, okay. You know, it was kind of the wah, wah, wah. But on this day, it was a proper real girl, you know, real as bit. And I didn't meet this girl, but I knew of her. Like, she was mutual friends with people that I knew. And like, you know, when you see someone on Facebook and you look at it and you think, they look really familiar, but I don't know why they look familiar, and I don't really know, like, I was just kind of confused as to why they did. But I added them anyway, just because of the fact that I may have known them at some point other than one of my days from primary or secondary school. You know, you meet those people, and like, you know, if a face is familiar, I may have seen them at one point or the other. But normally, like, you add someone and they stay on your friends list, you don't message them, and that's it. And then 5 minutes later, as soon as I accepted that request, I got a message request. Now, I was like, oh my god, Jesus, shit the bed, what the fuck, I've got an actual request, because that just doesn't happen. You know, if someone adds you, if you add like a girl that you may or may know that look familiar, you know, rather than using the line, do I know you? You know, normally you just don't hear anything whatsoever. But on this occasion, I got a message and they said, hey, do I know you? 3 kisses. And I was like, I don't know. But my first thought was like, this girl's kind of attractive, not gonna lie. You know, and I mean, to be fair, I had a relationship in about like a year, like almost 2 years. Well, yeah, year 11, no, a year. It was a year, because I had a brief relationship when I went to my prom, and that was in 2015. So yeah, it was about a year, almost a year since my last relationship. So, and like, we started talking, and like, I remember it was around about, like, I'd say 8 o'clock-ish, and like at 2 in the morning we were still talking. And that's when you know you found something special. We then started talking on Skype. We then decided after Valentine's Day, that's when I sent the Skype message to her, and then we decided to meet. And then this was another date that I went on this time. I took her for afternoon tea, because, you know, she said that she absolutely loved, like, cups of tea. I, as you can tell, love a good cup of tea. So I was thinking, right, how do I kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Let's take her for afternoon tea, and then go walk down to the park, because like there was a tea place where I live, and about 10 minutes from there's like a really open park, and on a sunny day it actually is really romantic. Absolutely freezing because it was like the middle of February, but we had the date, bit of a smooch, not gonna lie, and another lovely little bit of a smooch, and then we got together. So we were together for about 3 to 4 months. She used to come around mine, we used to watch movies, go out for meals. You know, we used to speak. I mean, one of the things that I don't miss is that I used to like Skype with her, and like we used to have like 3-4 hour Skype conversations. And there was one day where she was like, "Can I talk to you about you know, my makeup collection?" And I went, "Yeah, why not?" 4.5 hours later, I'm still on Skype with her, and she shows me every like brush, every bit of lipstick, telling me the heritage, the history, and I was just thinking. And like, this without sounding me, I was thinking, somebody, dear God, please just call me, get me away, please just let me go downstairs. But I was so like, I didn't want to say, look, you're boring me, you know, I didn't want to upset her. So I just let it happen. But she also watched football matches with me, so, you know, it was kind of a win-win. When Arsenal players said, yes, you can come round as long as you watch Arsenal with me, because I'm not missing Arsenal for anything. You know, I wouldn't even miss Arsenal, like, even if my family said we're going out, or we're going to like Disneyland Paris, but Arsenal play, I'm not missing them. Maybe it's a bit too far. I probably would go to Disneyland Paris and just whack it on tape, but you get my drift. Like, I don't miss Arsenal a lot, okay? And then that sort of just fell away, really. We just came to a mutual agreement that we just stopped loving each other, and that is kind of really hurtful. It was all going all great, all swimmingly, and then like the thing is, like, as I said, I wouldn't count myself as stupid. Like, you know, she used to send me like little things like 12, 14, 16 kisses, right? And then like, she would then not send me any, or send me only 2 or 3, and it was little things like that. Like, she would become less and less interested with me, and it just fell away, really. We came to a point where I just said, look, do you not want to do this anymore? You know, have you stopped loving me? She just said, yeah, I have. And I said, well, I think I'm starting to feel the same way too, and we mutually just decided to call it a day. And then that was it, really. And again, that was when the college crush like was going on, and then, you know, just having a couple of girls that I liked here or there. And then in my second year of college, this is when I was doing YouTube, of July of last year, where this was July of last year, and then I'm like editing. I remember this. I was editing my FIFA 17 foot draft video, and like, I have such a really good memory. I can pinpoint when things actually happen, like when important things really happen. Safe to say, if they're unimportant, I just don't really give a shit. But I'm sitting there editing, and I see this other girl who requested to follow me on Instagram. And this story, I mean, like, they sound like my relationships are really rosy and that they just fall down, but this one certainly was not one of my brightest moves. Like, I regret doing this because, like, it just for the simple fact that I wouldn't say I wasn't attracted to this girl, right? But she was different from, like, my, like, the ideal girl that I go for, and I'll explain it right at the end who my ideal girl is, but this girl was the complete opposite of that. But she was nice to talk to, and, like, you know, she made me laugh, and we just got on really well. And then she said that she fancied me, and, like, I hadn't really got into a relationship, like, since my ex in 2016, so it had been, like, about a year, 3 months since my last relationship. I'm not gonna lie, and I hate saying this, I was a bit desperate, really, for a relationship, and I regret this because I rushed into it, I forced into it, where really I wasn't thinking, and looking back, I don't really think I had feelings in the way that I did for my other relationship, and this sounds really, really bad, and it is a regret that I have, because we went out for a date, same place as my last date, because I thought if it worked so well the first time, it's going to work a second time. And actually, I mean, I'm not going to go there anymore because it's cursed, but, like, I went back to the afternoon tea place. She likes tea. Actually, we had a cold drink because it was in July, so it was absolutely roasted. But we then went to the park, you know, had the smoothie. It was like deja vu of the first date that I had. And then we became boyfriend and girlfriend, and I went round hers, like, on, like a week into it. And then 2 days later, we split up. You know, it just wasn't working. It just wasn't, and it was forced, and we just rushed into it. I don't think we really had that. I mean, I think we had feelings for each other, but I think it was just more like a little bit of a fling rather than like a real long time. I mean, if you break up with someone after like 5 days, you know, since getting with them, doesn't really. Yeah, it's not really a relationship that matters, incidentally. And I do regret it. Like, I'm friends, well, I don't speak to her anymore, but I don't hold anything against her, and there's no bad blood. But it was simply due to the fact that I was kind of just desperate for a bit of love, and I kind of rushed into it, and that's just never a good thing to do, you know. Taking it slow, like, slow and steady wins the love train. You know, you don't get on the love train, you don't get to your next stop, your next destination by rushing things. And I learned that the hard way, believe you me, right? So, I mean, you know, looking at that, my love life isn't like as, I mean, it's pretty bad, but it's not, I mean, it's non-existent right now. I had a date, I had another date in the August when, just literally, the day I posted the Why Am I Single quiz, I was speaking to this other girl that I did know, who went to my old school, and we just started talking again. I asked her the question, do you find me attractive? She said yes, I find her attractive as well. We went on a date to the pub to have a drink. I then snogged her after the date, and then we just said, let's see how it goes, we're going on another date soon, and it just fell away. We never really ever got to go. I had one date with her, and the fact is that she was moving away to university up in Bristol was kind of a leading factor. Again, you know, it's a big no-no for long-distance relationships. I don't actually know what, I think it actually wasn't the University of Bristol, I think it was the University of Portsmouth, that's it. But it's still quite a long way for me to go, and I didn't really want to do that. So we had the date, and we would have been really, really good together. She was funny, she was intelligent, she was good looking, like, we got each other. She absolutely loved YouTube and loved my channel, and she actually messaged me because she watched my YouTube channel. And the girl that followed me on Instagram also had watched my YouTube channel. That's how they found me on Instagram. So my YouTube channel actually has got me a girlfriend, but it just was not the most successful one, really. And the second one was just a date, so it doesn't really count. But like I said, I'm going back to the point that it's not been the worst. Like, I've had girlfriends, I've had fun, you know, and I've got good experience, but yeah, I've not had that one-night relationship for like 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, the one that I had for a year and 3 months was like at school. Again, it's completely like, you know, a year and 3 months is when you like see them outside of work, so like when they come around yours or you go around theirs, and like, or you start like living together. I've not had that kind of really you know, close relationship. You know, it's been kind of just, you know, boyfriend and girlfriends and dates and just, you know, just having fun instead. Which is one of the great things when you are a teenager growing up, it's about to have fun. You know, you don't want to get tied down too early. You know, it's always fun to kind of grow and kind of just see, you know, what, you know, because there's so many people out there that, like, you haven't found the right one unless you get really lucky, and like you know when you found the right one, they say that you know. And I do believe that. I think once you find the right one, you know for a fact, and like, you know, 9 times out of 10 that's the person that you stay with forever. Really, I haven't found that yet, but you know, it's just my love life kind of it has peaks and troughs, right? I have a bit where I'm on like on top of the world, you know, touching cloud 9, and then it's just I always have in the back of my mind that this is going to go tits up at any given moment whatsoever. It's just going to go wrong. It just generally is going to. It's not going to go right whatsoever. It's just a storm is brewing, and like as Game of Thrones says, winter is coming, and it is not going to be pretty. Okay. But yeah, like as I said, like using social media to find relationships doesn't normally work unless they message you. But there's one app which I have used from time to time that I just find funny, and that's Tinder, right? Never got with anyone, never gone on a date through, you know, finding someone on Tinder. You know, never gonna have used it just as a joke. If I ever match with someone, I just literally just use pickup lines and try and make them laugh. There is some really weird conversation and really weird things that you find on Tinder, like generally, and I'm not gonna dive into any of the Tinder conversation. One conversation was strange, very, very, very strange, and it took a very, very weird turn very, very quickly. I don't really use. I use it from time to time, and I will go on it on Valentine's Day just to see, as a laugh, to see if I can match up with anyone. I've got a couple of matches here or there, but it's just weird. Like, you know, it's the problem is, right, is that people say that the best dates are the ones that you meet face to face, but the problem is that, like, because social media is such a big thing nowadays, I don't think it's a bad thing finding someone on like social media, as long as like on Facebook, if they've got like loads of mutual friends of mine, that is kind of like a clear indication that this is the person that I'm talking to. I normally always video chat them before I meet them, just to make sure that this is the person before actually going on the date. You know, if it was just like someone that's not got any mutual friends that hasn't got a picture, then you'd have to look suspicious. And like, even if I met someone on Tinder, I would want to add them on Facebook, have a video chat with them, see them first on camera before actually meeting them in person, just because of the safety aspect. But I think that social media, and you can find love on social media, and that can be a positive thing, but it can also quickly turn and like descend into the dark side, and just it can become a very, very bad thing very, very quickly. But you know, right now I'd say that, you know, again, I talk about future relationships and what my ideal girl is, but I haven't been on a date for August, September, October, November, December, February, 6 months. I've spoken to a couple of girls here or there, and had like a girl that I have got very close to being with, but then it's just fallen away, and that is when I talk to the fact that like I'm attracted to them, she's attracted to me, but like we're just toying like on a yo-yo, just like going in between. But I haven't really been on a proper date or met someone that I generally think I'm going to be with. So yeah, we'll wait and see what the future is. And before I talk about the future relationships and conclude this podcast, I want to talk about sex, because sex is important, right, in a relationship, and I'm not going to give any personal details about my sex life or anything for that matter. I said, and it came up in a extreme Q&A with DJ, that drinking challenge that I did, where my mates asked me questions and I could get out of answering them by doing a shot of a drink. So again, check that out if you've missed it. A link to it will be in the description. So that's the first episode of Bagpuss Uncut. But I said in that video that one of the questions was that if you had, you know, sex or had any sexual contact, and I simply just ignored the question. I don't want to go into that, you know, I like to keep that hidden, I like to keep that private. But I do see a lot of conversation about sex, I do find it interesting, and I mean, you take for this what you will, but like from experience, I'd say that I see sex in a very kind of different way in terms of like the average kind of teenager, but again, I'm not like the overprotective teenager. Like, I'm somewhere in between. You know, I'm not the kind of person that would just shag anything that it moves. And yes, this is quite personal to descend into. But I have, quite a young audience, and I think it will be good to kind of give you an insight into this because, as I said, I'm not the kind of guy that would just shag anything with a pulse, right? But that's not to say that if I wanted to have a one night stand, as long as it was safe, then I wouldn't stop me. Like growing up, I always had this vision and this idea that you'd only have sex if you love the person and it's like an intimate thing that you do with someone that you love, that you care about, and that is kind of the best way to have sex. And I agree with that, but you can't really know that unless you've been with someone for a long period of time. And sex and making love are two very, very different things, okay? They are completely different and separate. Sex can be just fun. It can be, something that you do just because you have the urge to do it and you want just to have that bit of fun, and it's the best way to describe it. It's like either maybe you're stressed out, or you have that urge, but you're with someone and in a relationship you have that urge, and both you have the urge, and as long as you consent to it and as long as you are safe with doing it, then I don't see a problem with that. As long as you're, for a guy wearing a condom, as long as the girl wants to do it and you want to do it and everybody is completely 100% happy with what they're about to do, because it's a very, very big thing, then that's fine. I wouldn't say you should wait to be madly in love with someone, but that's not to say to basically sleep with everybody on a first date, right? If hypothetically, if I went on a date, I'd say a girl invited me back to hers, or I invited her back to mine, and she wanted to and I wanted to, and I was happy to do it, and we had protection and it would be safe, then yeah, I probably would do it, and that's not to say that makes me or the girl, a slut or a man whore. I don't buy into that. I classify someone who is a slut and a man whore as somebody who basically sleeps with a different person every single day, that just all they think about is sex 24/7. I do think sex is an important thing, and I do think in terms of a relationship it's a big step, right? But I would say that it can be enjoyable, it can be fun, and it's one of those things where it's all about preference. People see sex in a very, very different way. Your first time is slightly different, because that is a huge thing, because your first time is opening yourself up and experiencing something which is quite, is quite personal and is quite, it's a huge thing. It's a huge step into adult life. Your first time, you want it to be with someone who cares about you, someone who's special, but it doesn't always happen like that. And, you may regret it after you do it, but then you might not. You won't know it unless you actually do it. So, my advice to anyone out there that has had this problem before, and speak for myself, that if you are, and if you're ready to take a relationship to that level, if you've got safety, and as long as you're willing to do it, that is absolutely vital, and the person that you're doing it with treats you safe and takes care of you and is respectful, then I don't see anything wrong with that, incidentally. And I think that we've come a long way in terms of sex. We know a lot about sex, and you can easily research with porn and stuff. There's a lot of places to go to find out a lot about it, and you don't really hear a lot of young people talk about it, and that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk about it because I don't find it embarrassing, I don't find it awkward, I don't think sex should be embarrassing and awkward. It's only embarrassing and awkward if you make it embarrassing and awkward. But I just think, for me, it's just one of those things where you know in your heart of heart if you want to do something, and it's a risk. Having sex is always a risk. There's a huge risk in it, not just from a safety point of view, but in terms of how it makes you feel emotionally after. But you only live one life, and it's the things you do in this life that makes the most important. You can't go throughout your whole life thinking, oh, what would happen if I'd done this, or if I'd not have done this. So that's why I see sex in a slightly different way, that if I want to do it, and if my partner wants to do it, and as long as we've got the right means of safety, and as long as we're happy to, you know, proceed with, you know, having sex, then I will do it. And, you know, you only regret it after it happens. Like, just believe it. You regret it after it happens, okay? And you won't know that unless you do it. And it will give you experience, and it will make you ready not to make the same mistake. Like, if you make a mistake once after, you know, being in, like, doing, you know, sexual stuff, and I'm not talking just about having sex, but like, you know, the foreplay I'm talking about, you know, like the things that you leading up to sex, right? If you regret that after, you won't know it unless you've actually done it. And then if you have done it, then it will make the next time you do sexual things less awkward, because the first time you do it is kind of like a minefield. And obviously the more stuff you do, you know, the more you practice it, the better you get. And it's literally like that. But I know a lot of people out there that find sex really embarrassing, not just, you know, in terms of actually doing it, but actually talking about it. And I don't have that same mindset. You know, I think we're in a very sexualized world. And, you know, I mean, I've seen people out there, like, kids of like 12 and 13 are having sex. Like, back in the day, like when I was 12 and 13, all I cared about was match tax, let alone, you know, having sex with someone, you know. And like young people, like, hypothetically, I'll tell you a quick story before we move on to my future relationship. I was doing work experience at my old school, right? And this was in February of last year, right? And like, I was working with the year 7 class in the music department. And some of the stuff that they were talking about, like some of the sexual, like, expletives that were coming out of their mouth, some of the sexual conversations they were talking about, some of the stuff even I didn't know. And I'm 19 years old, and these people are like 12 or 13. Some of the stuff they were talking about, I didn't even know. You know, I was like, wait, what's that? What on earth is that? You know, and it's absolutely shocking. Like, so much, you know, so many young people nowadays know all about sex, and they know what sex is about, and it's crazy. But again, it's because of the world that we live in, and the modern day 21st century of how sex has evolved, and how relationships and sex are such a big thing. And particularly now, as I'm going into my 20s, sex is a huge factor in terms of relationships, not like it was back at school. I mean, I never would have in a million years thought of having sex like at 12, 13, 14, you know. Like, actually, we knew about sex obviously when we were like 14, 15, 16, but when we were like 12 and 13, no way. And even like when I was 14 or 15, I wasn't thinking about sex. I wasn't even thinking of like doing anything with sex. So it's weird. I do apologise if I was rambling a little bit and repeating myself, but that's because, like, I wanted just to reiterate the point that, you know, about sex, and just to keep saying that about the safety and about the willingness, because it is important. And I wanted to kind of just, you know, proclaim about that, because I just don't see many young people talking about it, and if they do, they're talking about it in the wrong way, you know. And yes, I make jokes about sex all the time, and you know, the banter I have with me and my mates, you know, it's always about like sex and, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, when you actually take a minute to be serious about it, it's a big thing. It's a huge thing. So let me end this podcast by talking about my future relationships, and what is like the ideal girl. Like, what do I look for in a girl, incidentally? Well, I look for the big bazookas, the big junkie. You know, a lot of junkies are trying. No, I'm joking. I really don't. I really don't. Okay. But I hope no one turns that into a meme. Okay. Basically, what I look for is, like, looks are an important part. Okay, and like, you know, I have to be attracted to someone, you know, in order to actually, you know, want to be with them. But personality is like the driving, leading force of what I look at in a girl. You know, someone who is funny, who is kind, who is. I don't want someone who is clingy. Like, in the past, I've made the mistake of being too clingy, and it just didn't work out whatsoever. I want someone that will give me time and, like, talk to me. Like, one of the biggest pet hates I have is, like, on Messenger. If I message somebody and, like, they see it, and girls are the worst at this, and I'm sorry, ladies, but this absolutely drives me around the blinking bend, right? I send a message to you, and, like, it says delivered, okay? I'll wait. I see it again. It says seen, okay? I'm waiting for a reply, and then, you know, after an hour, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, they've probably gone to bed. I'll wait till the morning. The morning comes, still no reply, and then, like, 24 hours later, I still haven't replied. If they don't want to talk to me, just say, like, do what? Even tell me to fuck off. I'd rather be told to fuck off than someone see it and not reply. That is, like, my worst bugbear ever, right? I can't stand it. I absolutely, it boils my blood when someone does that, because it makes you think 101 different things. Well, you know, especially if it's like your crush. If you're talking to your crush and they see a message and they're away like, well, shit, have they found out something about me? Have they been put off by something that I've said, something that I've done? You know, it sends you around the bleeding bed. I absolutely can't stand it, right? It drives me up the freaking wall. Just tell me to just go away. Or, like, as I said, just tell me. Just if you don't want to talk to me, just simply be honest with me. I can't stand, like, you know, when I'm in a relationship, there's only two things I ask for. Firstly, just, like, don't cheat on me, because I just can't, like, you cheat on me, that's it, finished. And luckily, I've never ever been cheated on. At least I don't think I've been cheated on. I might have been cheated on without me even knowing, but from what I know, I don't think I've been cheated on. But the other thing I can't stand is being, like, messed around. Like, you know, if I'm talking to a girl and say, well, we'll go on a date, but then, like, as the date draws nearer, they come up with an excuse, like, oh, I don't feel very well today, or I've got to, you know, go and get some coursework done, or, you know, I've got to go and see my nan in Uganda or something, you know, and you get to the point where, you know, you wouldn't make these many, like, you know, your life might be busy, but these are just turning into plain old excuses, right? And it absolutely drives me up the wall, and, like, I can't stand it, you know. And another thing that gets, like, right on my tits is when a girl says, well, I want to be with you, but I just can't. I've got so much school or college work or university work to contend with, and it's just like, that just infuriates me, okay? I get that, I understand that, but you telling me that you're doing work every single minute of every single day, and or they say that they've got too much work to get on with, right? And I'll say, I accept that, I understand that. And then I see photos on their social media of when they're going to, like, a party, or they're going out with their friends, or they've got their friends staying over. I mean, oh yeah, I've got loads of university work to do, but I will still go out and party with my friend. It's basically a nice way of saying, I don't want to be with you. Just, like, if ladies, if they're out there that wants a bit of the Bagpuss, right, and you want to start talking to me, there's just two things I ask for. A, don't cheat with me. B, just be straightly honest with me. I'll take honesty and you being completely honest. Like, I went on a date just after Christmas, okay? And this girl I'd been speaking to for about 2 weeks. We went on a date, and she was very, very honest and a very, very open person, right? And, like, we went on the date, absolutely freezing, went to, like, another coffee place. It seems like I absolutely love coffee places. Maybe I need to shape up and change up my date. And it was going really well. And again, I was like, you know, do you want to have a hug? And then she turned and said, look, I'm being honest, I don't have any attraction towards you whatsoever. It hurt me and it upset me, but I was grateful for being honest, because I can't stand being messed around and played around with. You know, I'm not a toy. You know, you can't throw me around like a rag doll. You know, I've got fit. I can't stand it whatsoever. So my ideal girl is a girl who's honest, who's open, who doesn't mess me around, who's got a good sense of humour, who is kind, and who is, you know, attractive. I want a girl, in my eyes, I mean, my definition of what I think is attractive and your definition of what you think is attractive, you know, is two very different things. You know, my taste in women might be different to your taste in women, or, like, for example, if, you know, say for girls or boys, you know, whatever sexuality you are, if there's a boy or a girl that you like, your friend might not think they're attractive. And everybody's like that, because each of us humans have different emotions and different opinions, right? You know, what one person thinks is attractive, another might think is completely different. But in my eyes, someone that I think in my eyes is attractive, as someone who has got a good personality, and my mates keep saying that I find everything attractive, but anything that's got a pulse I find attractive. Not true, lads, not true. I know that I've made a couple of mistakes here or there, but, you know, I just want a nice girlfriend. I just want a girlfriend that will give me the time of day, also give me time to, you know, do what I want to do on my own merit, you know, that is honest with me, that doesn't mess me about, and then just, you know, gives me good and fun, loving memories to do. Whether there's a girl out there for me to find that, we shall wait and see. But right now, I need to tell you a lie. I've been lying to you this whole podcast, because I actually do, and I am in a relationship. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. And I need to tell you, right, my girlfriend's name. Her name is YouTube. All by myself. My life. I mean, it might as well be. I spend literally every waking minute on this YouTube channel where I'm thinking of new videos for you guys and all of that good. I couldn't say that with a straight face. And yeah, YouTube is my girlfriend. I think on that note, though, I'm going to end the podcast here, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you have a good Valentine's Day, whatever you're doing. You couples, I really hope you have a good evening, whatever you're doing. If you're watching this podcast, so you're now going to go off and, have a bit of a chillax, shall we say. Have a good one. You singletons, I hope you've enjoyed your day, whatever it is you're doing, whether you're going on Tinder for a bit of a laugh, whether you're just gaming, whatever you're doing. I really hope everyone has a good day. Please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, check out my other content as well. Make sure that you check out all my other great content, and you can follow me on Twitter at DJPeppers998. Let me know your comments, questions, queries, if you've got anything to talk about sex, relationships, all that good stuff. I will try and be DJ Peppers, the Love Guru, in the comment section below. And yeah, 2 podcasts in the space of 2 weeks. I told you the DJ Peppers Show Season 2 podcast series is well and truly under its belt, and I think the next podcast that we've got is going to be a very, very special one, so stay tuned for that. I have to look at my schedule, but I've got some Fortnite gameplay coming up, so stay tuned for that. What else have we got coming in the next couple of weeks? We've got the Carabao Cup final coming up in 2 weeks' time, analysing Arsenal on Thursday, and we've also got, at the end of the month, my very first vlog. So all of that great content is on the way. This is DJ Pepper signing out. Take care, and until next time, I will speak to you all later. Until next time, take care, and I shall see you all soon. Goodbye. Peace out. Oh yeah, you can download this podcast on SoundCloud right now. The link to it will be on screen now. Take care, everybody.
Words that make me scared.